go. Right. Just making sure everything's okay on YouTube. Please get your questions in. If you're here with us on Zoom, we'll prioritize you, of course. And let's make sure everybody's also able to get in. Pedder's joining us. Tim, good to see you again here. And let me make sure there's no waiting room for people. And that things are all well and good on YouTube, and then we'll start chatting. Right. There we go. Two of me. My goodness, one's enough. Let's mute me up over on YouTube. Good evening to you if you've just joined us on YouTube over there. So yes, Nunu, good evening to you and your fabulous shirt this evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening. Well, I'm pretty good today.
You look
Honestly.
it. You look it and sound it, man. The vibes are
Yeah.
good coming from Nunu Mensch tonight from Winsurance.
Yes. Yes. So I dress accordingly with the moment. So yes, it is what it is.
Great. And I think you're joining us at the beginning of the call. How are things looking in the world of insurance?
Okay, so we have kind of a shake during this this
We
week.
did, of course,
So,
the big news this week. What was I thinking?
so we keep praying all the time, and we send. This is a public information. There are a link that we can see in real time all the earthquakes worldwide, also in Portugal. And it was funny because I had a conversation with one expat last week about the property insurance. And I have proposed the earthquake cover as we always do because we never know what could happen. And he lives in central Portugal, and he said, "Oh, but nothing big happened, right? Yeah, until now, yeah, right. The last was in the 60s. Um, oh, and even less in central Portugal, right?" I said, "Yes, but we never know." Well, he did the coverage. He did the insurance with the coverage of earthquake. And when the earthquake happened, yes, he was afraid. Do I have the coverage or not? So I usually say that insurance is about we pay for peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that if we will get something in return, like we usually do, and I used to have on the health insurance. But basically, the mindset should be, okay, what do I want to pay, or I want to pay? I'm able to pay for this level of peace of mind. So yes, luckily we had only on the level of the earthquake. It was 5.3, I believe. So we felt, but nothing big. Only to
Still quite
only to
scary.
remember.
Still quite scary for some people who've not experienced it before, who haven't come from California.
Yeah, no, but well, we have in memory two big earthquakes, 7055.
Yes. In
So 300
memory,
years
hold on a
ago,
minute. I'm not that old.
1755,
Yes.
and the other one in 1969.
Okay.
It was on the 60s, and this one on the 60s, it reached 7 point something. And I don't know if you are aware about the scale, but passed from 5 to 7 is 100 times bigger or
Yeah.
worse, or
Yes.
name as you want.
Well, it's hard to
So
imagine 100 times
yeah,
worse. I mean,
so
people did feel it here, didn't they, on Monday, on
yeah,
Sunday evening?
yeah, and the what is scary is that only 69% of the Portuguese residencies have the coverage included on the property insurance
That's what
policy.
came to light, wasn't it? The day after
Yeah,
how ready the country was to face such
yeah.
an occurrence and how well insured people were. And as it turned out, people are not very well insured, generally speaking, here in Portugal,
Hmm.
with
Sure.
that statistic. However, if they now that that's been brought to their attention, You can help out, of course. And if people want to check with you with any existing policy they've got with you, they can, of course, call the team and find out.
Yes, because not all the earthquake coverages are the same. The
Right.
name is the same,
Yes.
but not the coverage.
Okay.
Okay, so be aware.
All right, very good. Well, thank you very much. You brought two team members along. Thank you for the update on the big news in Portugal. Obviously, it didn't occur to me to even ask you about it. It just seems like such a long time ago. But thank you very much for updating us on that. And you've got Sandra here tonight and Ruth as well,
Good.
in
I
insurance
saw
team.
both.
So thank you both as well for being here, and you might pick up on questions a little bit later on. So Winsurance are very well represented on the Dream Team session here tonight. Thank you for being here. Any questions about insurance, you know where to put them. Gilda has joined us now, popped into our last webinar, which was a great job with Ivana Luna from the Casa Portuguesa team. And Gilda is here to answer any questions about visas. How are you doing, Gilda?
Well, it was a very busy day.
You look very relaxed and fabulous, I have to say. But you were driving back, I think, from your busy day on the last webinar.
Yes, I was driving back, and then I had the quick dinner, and then I had to drop the kids someplace, and then I just arrived. Always running.
Superwoman is here to now answer any questions about the world of visas. What's going on in your industry, Gilda?
Well, not much. Everything remains more or less the same. Except for that now everyone wants to suit IMA, to put a process on IMA.
Yes.
But as now everyone is doing it, I don't think that the practical results will come out.
Okay. So the first impact of suing IMA will just become a normality, and any possible benefit might be just become reduced, basically. Wow. Okay. So are you advising clients against that now?
It depends. What do? We have to focus on each case, because there are some cases that we can make an appeal and it makes sense, and we know it's going to be granted. And there are other cases that people just want to put a process, and it's not going to worth it. So it's we have to analyze case by case to see and to go for those that we think have a good chance to have good results
and make it worthwhile. Okay.
Yes.
on everybody's part. Okay, well, that's good to know. Thank you very much. Case by case then, when it comes to suing IMA, to get some movement there with any process you might be involved with. Are you expecting a little bit of a September rush? I'm guessing there's a seasonal thing that goes on. You know, people in the United States and the rest of the world are thinking, okay, I want to move to Portugal, but I know they kind of shut down in August. I'm going to get back on it as soon as September comes. So do you anticipate a little bit of a pickup and a rush as we go into September?
Yes, I already noticed that in the last 2 weeks of August.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's already happening. And if you want to get any questions in ahead of any consultation you might have with EI, you can do that here on the Dream Team session. Anything else you want to share with us, Gilda, before we move on?
No, I don't think so. Not at the moment.
All right, excellent. So any questions about visas, pop them in the chat and I will put them to Gilda, whether you're on YouTube or here with us on the Zoom call for Expats Portugal members. Steve Flack from the world of FX, currency exchange. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm very well. I hope everyone is doing well.
How are things in the world of currency? How's it looking for our dollars and our pounds and the euro?
Yeah, so all of those depends on what you're buying, really, or what you're selling more than anything, really. So, I mean, in recent times, the dollar has weakened off, just with the Fed sort of saying, yeah, definitely we're going to start cutting rates. So we see that come off a bit. Yeah, he actually went back a bit in their favour a bit today, but not too much. If you're selling pounds, it's a good time. We've seen some of the best rates we've seen for quite some time now, which is good as well. And even Canadian dollar sellers, we've seen that come back off a couple of cents in the last day or so as well. So it's pretty busy. There's still plenty for people to be positive about. even though the dollar is not as strong as it's been, it's still, you know, if you go back over however many years, it is still, you know, these are still fairly good rates. You know, it's not back up in the 120s or anything like that yet. So, you know, it's still pretty good.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Steve. Any questions you've got about exchanging your dollars or your Canadian loonies or your pounds for euros, put them in the chat or send them to me and I'll make sure they get put in front of Steve this evening. A new face on the Dream Team panel tonight. Great to welcome Jeremy. Jeremy Klingers, how are you this evening? Bon night to you.
Bon night. Thank you very much for the introduction, Carl. I'm fine. A bit tired. Long day, same as you, but
busy day in financing, right? In home purchases. You are in the mortgage business, and we're very pleased to have you here as part of the Dream Team, and you can help people get a mortgage here in Portugal. How is that looking at the moment? It sounds like you're very busy.
Yeah, it's picking up again. It was a slower few months, but now it's picking up again. More requests coming in. Seems that more people are purchasing, so that's good.
Yep, and you can be found, of course, in the Expats Portugal Business Directory. If people want to talk to you, they can just give you a call, right, and schedule an appointment and talk through their requirements.
Please feel free to contact me. Everything is free of charge, no obligations. So if you have any questions, reach out to me.
That's what we like to hear. Free of charge and no obligation. Excellent. An excellent start to any relationship. Right.
Exactly.
And which part of Portugal are you in? Just to find out a bit more about you.
Yeah, so I'm living in Olhão. It's in the lovely, beautiful Algarve, next to Faro.
Yes.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Netherlands, but 5 years ago I decided I need to leave the Netherlands and came back to my roots. My mom is Portuguese, my father is Dutch, but yeah, lived here before, so I missed the Portuguese lifestyle, and I was fed up with the rush and stressed lifestyle in the Netherlands.
Very interesting. And that I take it that move's worked out for you. It looks like it has.
It does. It did. Yeah, lots of sun, 330 days of sun. I have a structural tan now. In the Netherlands, I was a bit whiter. So good food, good friends, good company. And I gotta say, since I moved here, I've become more relaxed myself.
Have you?
Yeah, just happy with my life.
That's so great. I mean, you work in a high pressure industry, obviously, in the world of finance and mortgages, but still, you managed to live a great life here in Portugal.
Exactly. Yeah. I usually also tell that to my clients. Like, I work more hours here in Portugal than I did back in the Netherlands, because I used to work for an employer. Work 40 hours per week. 9 to 5, 5 o'clock, shut down the laptop. Bye, I'm going home. I work more hours here, but it does not feel like I'm working more than in the Netherlands. So.
Yeah. If you love what you do, you never have to work again.
Exactly.
Very good. So good to have you here. Any questions about mortgages and borrowing money basically to buy a property here in Portugal? You can put that to Jeremy Klingers on our Dream Team panel here this evening. We've got a question from Gilda, who might want a mortgage. Is that right, Gilda?
No, I just want to say that I really like Jeremy's testimonial, and I think it's really good that someone says that he feels more relaxed in Portugal and has a better life in Portugal, because it's a good example. We didn't ask him to advertise on our behalf.
No, that's
it's
right.
It's a good example.
Yes.
And sometimes people say, why should we go to Portugal and not to other countries? And this is the reason. This is the reason. It's you have a peace of mind that it's not easy to find elsewhere.
True, and increasingly so, we might add as well. So well done, Portugal, and thank you. Yeah, thanks for picking up on that, Gilda.
And welcome to the Dream Team, Jeremy.
How about that?
Thank you so much.
You have been welcomed by the Queen of the Visas, so it's official, Jeremy. Okay, right. Good evening then to, I think that, actually, no, let's quickly say hi to Sandra, if we may. Sandra Costa, good evening to you. Are you there, Sandra? And Ruta as well. Would you like to say hello as well, Ruta? I think both Ruth and Sandra are expecting to answer questions behind the scenes, and I haven't unmuted for us yet. But when you want to jump in and answer anything, please feel free to do so, Sandra. Ruth. Phyllis is in from Setúbal, of course. Phyllis, good evening. Good to see you here. Debbie in Coimbra. Yes, hello.
No, you've forgotten Pedro.
I so did. I can't deny it. I cannot deny it. Pedro Branco, good evening to you.
Hi, good evening.
I am so sorry.
No, it's okay. I've been absent so many weeks in the weeks of August. I mean,
yes,
I took a long vacation and really good. So it felt really good.
Who are you again?
Sorry,
I was just saying, who are you again? I'm kidding. Welcome back, and of course, you take care of taxation.
yeah. No, last week I made the presentation on the crypto, so I was already working.
Yes, yeah.
But slowly getting into pace now. So.
Good. And did you have a nice vacation?
Yeah, it was really nice. I did travel a little bit to outside of Portugal, and it was really nice.
Okay, excellent to have you back, Pedro. Anything to talk about from the world of taxation, and specifically from an expat point of view, of course?
Yeah, there've been some minor changes in the IRS. So it was approved the decrease of the taxes for personal income tax. This concerns everybody, not just the expats, but also the local people. But it's just like 1% decrease, so don't get too enthusiastic about it.
Yes. Right. Don't spend it all at once, I guess.
Yeah, don't spend it all at once. But it's for me, it's always a good sign. So it's a sign that we are moving into the right direction.
Thank you.
And also again, it was approved the authorization for the governments to withdraw on the taxation on the short-term rental businesses. So I've discussed this previously in July, but now it has come into force. So it's also a good news, because many expats invest in short-term rental properties. And this concerns them as well. I think it's really good news for investments.
Yeah, very good.
But besides this, nothing else. So we'll start now the new season. Let's see how it turns out.
The new season, very
season,
good. That's right. Season 2, part 1, episode 1. Interestingly, though, you say law's been passed. I thought everybody was on holiday the politicians are on holiday for sure, aren't they? And then the journalists tend to go on holiday as well when the politicians aren't there to report on. But the IRS never sleeps, it would appear.
Yeah, the government. Now, these laws were passed before, so in the beginning of August, so August 7, so before the shutdown.
Okay.
And now in August 27, so it was before and after.
Okay, gotcha.
So, but it means that still the government is approving, is doing something. So
yes,
which
very
is
good. Very good. And I'm sure, like you're anticipating a bit of an uplift coming back into September, which it will be, of course, when we speak again next week. Okay, thanks very much. I think that's everybody now. The dream team is in the house and ready to answer your questions, as are Phyllis, Debbie. Good evening to you, LaRonda as well. The end of summer means the beginning of winter, as far as I'm concerned. Paolo also here from Rhode Island in Providence. Thanks for being here, Paolo. Connie, good evening to you, host or co-host of the Porto Meetup with a Boa Noite from Gaia. Ed and Sharon from Canada, great to see you here. And flexing some Portuguese, Boa Noite Pessoas from Pedro, good to see you here too as well. Re the NISS, is there an update of the new July law about who can get one? I think probably, Gilda, you're the best person to answer that question for Connie.
Yes, there is a new rule to get the NISS. Now to have the NISS, you need to have either a work contract or an open activity as an independent service provider.
Okay.
And then you can apply for the NISS. It was not like that before. anyone could have the NISS, but now this is happening. And it got very, very confusing because first, for the digital nomads, the IMA was not asking, and this is, we need to explain this because some clients and some people in general are thinking that we don't know what we are doing.
Right.
But actually, the case is that we don't foresee the future, and we don't foresee this kind of unpredictable things that are happening.
Yes.
So when our clients, digital nomads, 1 year ago, they wanted to have, they went to IMA, they didn't need to have the NISS, okay? But then they started to ask for the NISS.
Yep.
And how did we discover this? We got many pending residency permits. And when we got to CEF, they say, oh, but they are pending because they need to deliver the NISS. And then we said, but that was not a requirement before.
Yeah, right.
But it is now.
Yes.
So many processes were stopped. And if someone is listening and is on that situation, you should see if it is because you didn't provide the NISS then.
Yes.
Okay? So it didn't make sense, and then they asked for something, and now we are in a situation from last week on that these digital nomads cannot have the NISS because they don't have, unless they open an activity in Portugal and they issue receipts from Portugal.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a clarification.
So it's very confusing.
Yes.
If you have any doubts, you can get in touch with us because they kept, in 1 year, they kept changing the rules about the NISS and who can require them, and it's mandatory, and then it's not mandatory. So,
as you say, reflected badly on you, but it was actually a change in the process that caused that. And it's
yes.
again, a case-by-case situation. So consult with Gilda and team on that to find out exactly what you need to do as an individual. And we should decode that as well. The NISS is the Social Security number among the many acronyms that you'll encounter here in Portugal, but it is about your social security payments, which it sounds like Connie is keen to become involved with. And I mean, when you should be paying them, it's good to get on top of that straight away, isn't it? Because they can rack up and you can find yourself in arrears. So it is good to find out what's going on in that situation, whether you need to or not, and then get the payment schedule working. And there is a separate portal for doing so. I know Californians, thanks, Gilda, for the time being. I know Californians living in Portugal who slept through the shaker or woke up and then went back to sleep. Yeah, I know a few of those as well, Laronda. It was very, I guess, familiar for people who grew up in California, but a bit of a shock to others here in Portugal. I slept through it. I should add. Good evening, home in sunny Lagos after a wet and windy Glasgow, Scotland, and the weather wasn't too good either, was it, Derek? Debbie, I've slept through it as well. The hurricane, the sismo, or terremoto, I think is other two words for the earthquake here in Portugal. And even when the next door apartment complex burned down, Debbie sounds like a very heavy sleeper through hurricanes and fires as well. Good morning from Australia. Good morning to you. Never really think it might be when we're doing the dream team that it might be breakfast time in Australia, but good morning. What are you having for breakfast, Tim? 4.0 earthquake in Ohio a few years ago. Tom thought that was a car hitting his house, but there was no damage. My goodness. Yeah, Nunu, thank you very much for being here, leaving us with Sandra Arruta in the very capable hands of Sandra Arruta. If you've got any insurance questions tonight, the Naunu, finally the Naunu, had my first call with EI today, and now feeling hopeful about the visa. So some clarification there. Great thing to do. Well done, the Naunu, who's been with us for a little while now, having some problems with the process in India, but it sounds like a little bit of a light at the end of that tunnel for you after a chat with Gilda's team today. September the 5th, heading back time. Wish me luck. When I showed up for my July 1st appointment, I was turned away because only one person showed up to work today. We remember this, and it feels like we've been through this with you, Debbie. And I remember asking at the time, Gilda, if this is a very common occurrence. I think that it is fairly unusual, is it not, for to be turned away in that way? And Debbie can expect, I hope, a better service this time.
Yes, unfortunately, since we have this change from CEF to IMA, where many employees left, and IMA is now with only a few people working, it has been happening quite a lot.
Okay, well, then fingers crossed, Bossort, to you. The best of luck with your appointment.
I don't know at what time is your appointment, but as sooner as it is, the greatest chances you have of not being cancelled.
Earlier in the day is better.
Oh, 3 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Sorry,
It's getting worse for Debbie as the more we speak this evening. So we're going to have to do something about that and just cross everything for Debbie, fingers and toes on that, and hope that the visa gods are smiling on you, or the gods of IMA are smiling on you when you go. I think it's the 5th of next month. So
where is your appointment, Debbie?
Yeah, because although you live in Coimbra, it doesn't necessarily mean Espinho.
Okay.
Day trip to Espinho, hopefully better luck than last time. And if there's anything else we can suggest, Gilda, to make that, to give Debbie a little bit more confidence, let's do that this evening. Denise is asking, can you please remind us what the NISS is for? I think we've covered that. Yeah, Social Security. We decoded that abbreviation there. And Pedro, thank you very much as well, adding it's a requirement for the European health card as well. Got it. The memory just needed to be jogged a bit, says Denise. Well done. We sometimes do need a bit of a reminder on some of these things, especially when everything is reduced to an abbreviation. Okay. Any other questions on Zoom? Pop them in now for us, because we'll go over to YouTube now and ask some questions over there. Mr. S, good evening. Good to see you over there. Hola cara, Gilda. How about that? For residency for residency card holders via the D7, time outside Portugal can be justified due to family issues, can it not? A question there about some justification if you're outside of Portugal for longer than you should be on a D7. Is Mr. S right with that assumption?
Yes, you're right with that assumption. You should have in mind that you need to keep the proof of this. So when the time comes, if you are asked why you you were not comply with the minimum stay in the country, you can show and you can have proofs of why.
Yeah. Okay. So there you go, Mr. S. Now, Matthew is also saying over here on Zoom, I am scared. My IMA is in Lisboa. Now, it may be that there is a little bit of fear developing because of some of the things that have been, I mean, basically facts about what's going on, but still that has been perhaps a little difficult for some people. So
in Lisbon, you should be scared because there are a lot of fights there every day now.
Well, thanks for that, Gilda. I was hoping to bring some calm and confidence back to the situation. And I'm sure you can do that, because, you know, there are only so many things you can do to make sure it goes smoothly. And a lot of it is out of your control. So what's your guidance to people, given that, you know, there are things you can control and things you can't control? What's the best thing to do when you're gearing yourself up and mentally preparing and bureaucratically preparing for your IMA appointment? How can we put some confidence back for these folks who are getting a bit scared?
The first thing is that you should remain calm. Like in an earthquake, you should remain calm.
That's training then, was it? Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm so tired today. I'm not making any sense.
Yeah, La Ronda's now like, fights in the IMA office.
Yes, lots of fights in the IMA office. Lots of fights.
Of
because people get desperate.
Yes, okay.
People are desperate. They don't have answers. They don't have the cards. No one is answering the phones. No one is replying to the emails. So people get desperate. And when they get desperate, they do desperate things. And we got to that point. But
yes, however,
you should remain calm and always try to have a good conversation with the person that is I'm laughing here because of what Matthew wrote. The
Matthew,
person.
Matthew, can you stop that for a moment? Training like Rocky is probably not the best preparation. It's a
Although you might need, I don't know.
Come on, you two. Please.
But you should, one thing that you need to have in mind is that you need to keep in mind is when you are at IMA, you should remain calm, because you need to know that the people that is behind the desk, they are also very nervous.
Yeah.
And they are also exhausted because they have been doing a lot of work without support. They are working extra hours without having extra money. Many of them are having burnouts and are getting sick. And this is true. This is true. It's not like dramatic, putting some dramatic conversation on this. This is happening. So try to have a good conversation with them. If you go with one of our professionals, our lawyers know all of them, so they know how to approach them. And that is the advantage, because when you go with the lawyer, they can get you in, and the lawyer can speak on your behalf.
Yes. Yeah.
And this support that going with a lawyer now in nowadays is more valuable than ever.
Yeah, right.
Because you can have an appointment and they can try to reschedule you, but if you have a lawyer, they are going to argue on your behalf, knowing the articles of the law of doing that, and knowing that people from our staff are there every day, so they know how to deal with these different employees of the different IMA offices.
This is good. Having a strategy, I think, is very helpful, and I'm glad this came up, really, given the context and situation we find ourselves in. Matthew is relieved. Just going to hire as my bodyguards, which will save you hours in the gym and possible training there, Matthew. But on a serious note, I mean, really, it is like good cop, bad cop in a way, isn't it? You go as the client, and you're working on the golden rule, aren't you? Do as you would be done by. You're talking to a human being. Connect on a human level, and let your lawyer sort out the bureaucratic part, the legal part. And it's just good to be there and represent yourself in a calm manner, as Gilda's talking about, and let your lawyer take care of the business side of things.
Yes, because what happened is that sometimes our clients are too nervous, and we need to tell them, just don't say anything. It's up to us.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't say it's going to make things worse.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially with the Brazilians, because they speak the language and they like to, give answers. And if they make certain questions, they like to answer in an ironic way. And we have to say, no, you cannot go this way.
It sounds a bit like it's got like an airport atmosphere now. You don't make jokes, do you, when you're coming through customs? You don't make jokes in security.
Exactly.
It's the same here, isn't it? You just keep it business-like and calm and straightforward, and it's not the place to be wisecracking.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Thank you for that help there. So, these are the facts of the situation. It's a difficult situation, but that's probably how to prepare best for the situation, to make it go as smoothly as possible under the circumstances. Denise is asking, are you allowed to take coffee and snacks for you and the IMA official? That's probably a bit over the top, isn't it? I mean, it's right to take your own packed lunch sometimes, because you might be there for a long time, but
yes.
No need for a hospitality for the IMA staff. It might be a bit odd, a bit weird.
No, you cannot do that.
Right. Okay.
And they cannot accept anything.
Okay, so don't put yourself in that awkward situation for you or them. IMA appointments, are people doing this to renew their visa? Is there something else going on? Ed and Sharon are asking. Well, yes, there are a number of points, a number of parts to the process. Maybe you could highlight those for us, Gilda, about the how and when you will be visiting IMA when you're here in Portugal. Can you do that for us, Gilda? When are you likely, and why will you be at IMA in your visa process?
Okay, so once your visa is granted, you will have an appointment. Hopefully, you will have an appointment to go to IMA to exchange your visa into a residency permit.
Right.
And then when the renewal comes, it's kind of random if they are going to grant you an automatically renewal or if you need to go in person.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
another uncertainty, but that might mean another visit to IMA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good. All right. Thank you very much for that. I hope that helps Ed and Sharon. I think that is cleared up there. And we're up to date over on Zoom. Oh, apart from to say, Sandra has struggled to get a connection. However, all you need to do if you want to ask any questions about insurance, I am safe at winsurance.pt is the right number there. And Ruta's here as well to help us this evening if you do have any questions. Let's go over to YouTube, and we've got Sean. I'm an independent contractor with and a US citizen. My wife is from the Dominican Republic and living there. We're planning to move to Portugal in the next year, if possible. What is the best process for us? So an independent contractor and a US citizen, and a wife who is living in the Dominican Republic. What's the best process for those two based on those facts that you've got there, Gilda?
So I would need to have a consultation to know more data on this process, because what you do as an independent contractor and the amount of money that you make is important to decide which type of process. But I would say that the D8 digital nomad probably would be the best option.
Okay, sounds like it, but Gilda needs to know more. Sean, glad to help you tonight. Let us know if you want to know more in the chat over there on YouTube. If approved for a D7 or D8 visa, asks Just Jess, what happens if your employment ends or changes? Will it be difficult to get residency? Does IMA require to have the same employment? Good question. There's more to this, Gilda, if I may continue. I am job seeking before my move to Portugal, and I noticed that a lot of employers ask on the application if I have the legal right to work in Portugal or if I already have a visa. I feel, yeah, it's a bit of a catch-22, that, isn't it? I feel disqualified before I even submit the application. How can I get around this and explain that we need a job offer first? What's your experience of dealing with people in that situation?
Yes, it's very common. It happens a lot. People that are seeking for a job and want a promissory contract to have a visa, but people that are offering jobs, they want to hire someone with a visa already.
Yeah, okay.
And why? Because the migration law before, like 10 years ago, it was very hard on the employers to hire someone not from Portugal. So many people that still work on the human resources departments, for them it's like a nightmare to hire a foreigner because of the bureaucracy that they are in their heads they used to do.
Yeah.
Now it's much easier, but we need to educate them, and it's a big part of our job at educating companies how to contract and being able to supply promissory contracts to provide working visas and service providing visas, because it's not that hard anymore.
Okay.
And what used to be illegal or could be very challenging before, it's not like that. So the first thing is you should say, I have a lawyer that is supporting me, because that will give them confidence. And my lawyer says that I have all the requirements for this job, and if you really want me, I will take care of the process.
Very good. So check the assumptions of the person who might imagine that it's very difficult to employ somebody in this way.
Yes.
Okay, very good.
Because sometimes when you go and you say, I've done this with many people before that came to me and said, I want to go, but and then I say, okay, so do the other way around. If you provide me a contract, if you think that I'm a good asset, I will take care of the visa process.
Very good. Great strategy. I suspect that will help Just Jess over there on YouTube. Thank you very much for the question. A great answer as well. Don't forget, we've got Steve Flack from Spartan FX. You can open a free currency exchange account with Spartan FX, and you can find him you can find Spartan FX, the whole team of Spartan FX in the business directory. Pedro Franca also here from A Immigrant, who helps with taxation for expats and foreigners here in Portugal. Jeremy Klinger's also new to the Dream Team this evening, who can help with borrowing money, a mortgage basically, when you want to buy a home here in Portugal. And then we have Ruta and possibly Sandra behind the scenes of Winsurance as well, if you've got any insurance questions. We're keeping Gilda very busy, it seems, this evening. And we'll stay with you, Gilda.
I told you I was tired.
You shouldn't have said that.
You keep me asking.
As soon as you say I'm tired, it's like everyone wants to have a question answered by you. This is Kieran over on YouTube. Hi there. I have submitted my digital nomad visa, long-term residency visa application on the 3rd of April 24, but until today I haven't received any update from Portugal or the Portuguese embassy in Abu Dhabi. Is that normal? Is the question. Going back to April of this year.
I don't know the consulate. I need to know which consulate so that I can say if it's normal or not.
So which consulate in Abu Dhabi is the question?
No, in Abu Dhabi. Oh, it takes time.
Oh, it does take time. Okay, I sent two.
So April.
Kiran says I sent 2 emails to VFS and also sent an email to the embassy directly. Please suggest, and you think it is just par for the course with them?
Yeah, 6 months. I would say 6 months at least.
Right, there you go, Kiran over there on YouTube. Sumin Kim is here again on YouTube. I have a residency permit through the D8. If the law changed, do I still need to pay the social security taxes? Can you just give us further clarification on that? The current law as it is on D8. What should Sumin Kim do? Has the residency visa through the D8, but if the law changed, do I still need to pay the social security taxes?
Can you please repeat it?
Yeah, I can. I have a residency permit through the D8. If the law changed, so I'm guessing the payments were required at the time of getting the D8, but if the law's now changed, does assuming not have to pay social security taxes?
Yes, for the time being, it's not. You don't have to pay.
Right. Okay. Is there
But
any
I need to make a clarification with Paul here because he said I'm a nice, polite, educated Brazilian.
I was going to come to that. I was going to come to that, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's not being when I said Brazilians, it's only because they are Portuguese speakers.
Yes.
It's not because of it. You know that half of my team are Brazilian lawyers and Brazilian. And Ivana that just did the webinar, she's from Brazil.
Yes.
So it has nothing to do with the nationality, but with the language. I said the Brazilians because they speak Portuguese, and then they can hear what you're saying. It's more easy to try to get a conversation with them.
Yes,
and then we need to say, please.
They're tempted to join in the conversation.
Yes, that's why I said it doesn't have to do with the culture or with being polite or not, Paul.
I think it probably has something to do with the individual personality. And even though I can't speak Portuguese very well, I would be tempted to make a joke in that situation because that's what some people just do, isn't it? But the advice is clear. Don't. Whatever your nationality, if your personality is one where you make jokes in difficult situations, please refrain when doing that an IMA office. Going back to the NISS, this has been the theme of the evening. We're working you hard, and the social security theme is a big one tonight. I've been unable to get the NISS online with several attempts, says Debbie. But as I said before, I've got to get to IMA for the 5th of September. Is going to IMA without the NISS a waste of time, or is there another way to get one? I don't work, and that's
Debbie, what is your visa?
Okay, I think it's a D7. If you could clarify that, Debbie.
You don't need the social security number.
Okay, so why
D7.
Debbie is trying to get one?
I don't know.
Okay, Debbie, please, you'll have to answer that yourself there. Okay, thank you for clarifying, says Paolo. So that's all sorted in the chat there, the international diplomatic situation between the nations. And oh, thank you. I thought I needed one maybe for European health insurance, as Pedro pointed out earlier on.
Oh,
so,
yes, maybe for that.
But it's not going to compromise that meeting, is it?
No, it's not going to compromise the meeting.
Well, you have got a massive capital letters, obrigado, Gilda, and that's the sort of service we like to offer.
You're welcome.
Isn't it? When people are relieved from what they're hearing on the Dream Team session, which we do every Thursday evening at 9 o'clock. And we're going to be, back in September, of course. Next time we do it, it will be September, and we will be moving into the fall, as the Americans say.
Don't go that fast.
What,
we still have 3 weeks of September in summer.
Okay, sorry. Well, don't get me wrong. I'm hoping for summer in November, a proper San Martino summer with chestnuts and jeripica. So yeah, I'm up for a very late summer. I'd like that stated for the record. Okay, I think that's everything. Yeah, massive relief, I think, for Debbie there in Coimbra. Thanks for being here tonight, and thanks for answering from Kiran in YouTube. Just continuing from the first question. If my employment ends, yeah, that was the other part of this question. On the D8 or even a D7, what happens if somebody's job ends, which happens, doesn't it, in life? If you've got a contract and you're on a D8 and your job changes, what implications might that have next time you speak to Ima?
Okay, so here we have 2 different perspectives. Mandela is saying hi.
Hi, Mandela. Good point.
If you have your visa already, and you applied for the visa with a working contract, when you go to the IMA appointment, you should have the same working contract or something very similar.
Right, okay. And then later on in the process, if your job changes.
And then once you have your residency permit, more likely things are going to change, and then you don't need to stick with the original one.
Very good. Okay, I'm sure that again is a relief for Justice.
Yes, and you can also come as like a digital nomad and then find the contract here in a Portuguese company. That is going to be fine. Nothing is going to happen because circumstances changed.
Yeah.
And in our migration law, unlikely many other countries, they don't do like this. Like if your contract changed, you need to go out.
Is that right? Does that happen in some places?
Yes. Or if you need to go back and apply for another visa. Wow. It happens in a lot of countries. That's why this question makes a lot of sense.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for asking it, Jess.
And our migration law is very friendly.
Yeah.
Despite all this confusion and problems with IMA that are happening right now, our migration law is very friendly for those that choose Portugal to come to live and stay.
That is worth remembering and pointing out, isn't it? The conditions are very favorable. The processing can be challenging, but the conditions themselves are very favorable, and we should remember that. So thank you for pointing that out, Gilda. Yeah, going back to the NISS number and why you might need one. Laronda is asking, is it needed for the EU health card? And that is why people on D7s are asking for them. Pedro, would you like to address this? Because you mentioned this earlier on.
Yeah. The Social Security is the entity who manages the requests for the European health card. So if you are not registered in Social Security, you cannot make such requests. So,
you see, you might imagine that it's the SNS number you would need for that, but it's not. It's not the SNS. It's the NISS.
No, because they are the ones who manage the request. So it has to go through them, and by that it means that you must have a NISS to register.
All right. Thank you, Pedro, for that. And we've got a perfect thank you from Just Jess. Well, consider becoming an Expats Portugal member. If you feel like you've had some value, you can get even more by becoming a member at expatsportugal.com. As well as a perfect thank you from Just Jess, we've got I love the Dream Team. Thanks to all. We need T-shirts or bumper stickers with that on, I think, as well, so that Steve Flack can drive around the UK with I love the Dream Team bumper sticker. on his BMW or Mercedes, or yeah, I'm wondering. We'll find out later on, maybe, because I do have a question for the dream team, and it comes back to earthquakes, but not until we've made sure we've asked all your questions. Debbie, thank you for that. I highly recommend anyone joining Expats Portugal as a member. That's very kind of you. Do that at expatsportugal.com. And let's see if somebody does that while we're live on air. That'd be amazing if that happens. Anand, hello all. I lost my residency card. We've not had this question before, I think, Gilda. I lost my residency card and I've been struggling to get an appointment to get another one. Any idea what I should do? If you can't help, as it's hard to travel without it sometimes. Thanks. What a predicament to be in. First thing, I guess, is don't lose your residency card. Really look after it, because it is a world of pain, is it not, if you want to replace it? What should people do, Gilda?
Okay, first, I'm going to give you an advice of something that you should do. Once you have your residency card, you should make an authenticated copy of it. Okay,
very good.
Go take your residency card, go to a law office, or go to a notary and take a notarized copy of your ID. Because if you lose that, if you lose your cards, you can still do many things with this copy, authenticated copy.
What a great idea.
Yes, it is going to be accepted for many things that you will need to do before you get your new one.
Would that include crossing the border?
Yes.
Would it? Oh, well,
yes. With a statement from the police saying that you lost your residency permit.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And I should
okay, hold on a minute.
advise you. I would advise you.
You should report it. Well, if you do lose it, you must report it to the police.
You must report it. It's mandatory to ask for a new one.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so some great advice to copy it officially. But when you've lost it, you must report it.
Yes.
Okay, didn't know that. Okay, thank you for that.
You must report it, and it's based on that report that they are going to issue a new one.
Very good. Okay, who knew? I didn't. I suspect others didn't either.
See, you learned something today, Carl.
Absolutely. I have quite a few things actually this evening. And I want to learn more about how to manage earthquake anxiety from the Portuguese themselves this evening. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Just want to make sure we've answered all the questions. I think we've done that over on YouTube. Thank you very much. And I think, thank you, Pedro, for answering that about social security and why you might need the number. And Debbie agreeing, yeah, that is great advice. The lost card. And I think, Anand, I think that will satisfy your question as well. And,
but I'm sorry, but this person that just lost the residency card needs to do the police report and needs to keep trying to get an appointment with Iman.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Thanks. I have a scanned copy and the police report. Is that enough to travel and come back to Portugal is the question. Sounds like it is.
Yes.
Okay, good to know. Thanks, Anand. Great question and fabulous response there, Gilda. One quickie then before I ask you my cultural question to do with the earthquake. Is the conversation at IMA in English, or do you need to bring an interpreter? It's one of those it depends answers, certainly according to Connie. What are people likely to face?
Well, they will expect you. Some of them are flexible and they will talk to you in English. Right. Others aren't going to say a word.
Yep. And that's fair enough. That's fair enough, isn't it?
I don't think so. It would be fair if they didn't know how to speak English, but being in that position, receiving foreign people every day, they do know how to speak. And if they don't do it, it's just because they want to put themselves in a position and being a little bit rude. So I don't think it's fair enough.
Would they? Nobody would do that. Some people might. Okay, we've just covered tonight. All right, fair enough. Okay, all right. So there you go, Alex, answering your question. Right, we've got 5 minutes left. Dream team. This might be a bit difficult for Steve Flack, although you might have a view on it. Earthquakes here in Portugal, and it took everybody by surprise. It's like, you know, we know it might happen, and then it did. And the fabulous and funny thing about what I saw in the aftermath of the earthquake is the amazing sense of humor of Portuguese people. Because it's like, we had a comet and we've got the Aurora Borealis in the sky, the Northern Lights, and now we've got an earthquake. What next? And people are making jokes and having a lot of fun with the earthquake, sleeping through it and so on. But that said, I think for some people, and particularly maybe foreigners coming to Portugal, it's like, I've just moved to a country and there's been an earthquake. So how do you, natives of Portugal, feel about the earthquake, and how would you recommend people prepare? Steve, what would you do if, when you're over here having a lovely holiday in Portugal, which I hope you will do soon, having bought some euros with you from Spartan FX? If your hotel room started rumbling, what would be your first instinct?
I'd probably hide under the bed or something like that.
Yes.
I would not have a clue what to do. As you can
But we're
imagine,
about to find out.
Yeah, we don't really get that over here in the UK. It's get bad rain, bit of wind. That's about it. So
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
It would be very different from me. I wouldn't have a clue.
Steve, thank you for that. We're about to find out. So let's ask. Jorge, are you able to join us on this? Did you want to unmute? I'm not sure if we've got a good connection with each other. Let's start with Pedro on that then. Pedro, what would you say to foreigners who are worried about earthquakes here, and how do you prepare? How do you feel about it as a Portuguese person?
I have no idea.
Great, thank you. That's very simple. All right.
No idea.
Okay, all right. Because I'm thinking, the grab bag that you might have for wildfire. If you live in a wildfire part of the country, you would have a grab bag, and it might be a similar situation for an earthquake if you were really worried about it, right?
Yeah, I think we don't have many very high buildings in Portugal, but there is very old construction, because our country is very, very old.
Yeah.
So I guess that many buildings offer some risks in that sense.
Yes.
But I don't know, just go under a table. That's what I would do. But
that's your instinct. All right. Thank you, Pedro. Thanks for being here tonight. Much appreciated. Yeah. Jeremy, in the Algarve, is it a concern for Algarvians?
Well, I don't think so. I slept through this one because it was at 5 a.m. So I was sound asleep. Last year, I do remember. Last year we had one also coming from from Spain. The how do you call it? The epicenter or the
the epicenter?
Something?
Yeah.
It was close to Cadiz, and it was at 8 or 9 in the evening, and then I felt a little shaking, but I thought it was a truck passing by, and but I saw no truck. So yeah, well, how would I prepare? I don't know. It's a moment thing.
Well, we can take this information.
Buy toilet paper. Toilet paper.
That's the standard.
Like COVID.
Yeah, the standard response, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
And the great news is, of course, Portugal is a prolific producer of toilet paper, so we shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. But I'm liking this so far because clearly Portuguese people are not worried about it. It's not a major preoccupation, as we found out from Pedro and Jeremy. Jeremy, thanks for being here tonight. Great debut. See you again soon, I hope. And if you want a mortgage, speak to Jeremy about that. Finally, then, Gilda, earthquakes. Should we be worried? How do you feel about it? What are your preparations, if any?
I don't have many preparations, as I am such a spontaneous person.
Well, generally speaking.
Yes.
Life generally. Okay.
So I will just deal with the situation if it comes. But Paulo Faustini, I have something to tell you about this. My best friend, she's Brazilian. And when the earthquake happened, she called me. And of course, I didn't answer. I turned back to sleep. And then in the morning,
she phoned you at 5:30 in the morning.
Yes, she did. She did. And then in the morning, she was like, Gilda, you are such a Portuguese person. How can you be calm? Because I called you. I thought we were going to die, and you didn't answer the phone.
I just wanted to tell you I loved you,
alone.
and you didn't pick up. Yes. Right. Okay. All right. I think that tells us what we need to know.
This is to show that, yes, the Portuguese are really relaxed, and they were making jokes, and they were. Yes, with lots of sense of humor. Yep. Maybe someday our luck will change. I don't know. I hope not. But
in the meantime, we'll stay calm and keep making jokes.
Yes.
Very good. That's what I wanted to find out. Thank you so much, Dream Team. Over to you, Astrid.
Thanks, Carl. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And yes, a great session. You have worked very hard, Jill. Well done, well done. Okay, so next week we're here again at 9 o'clock for another Dream Team session. If you want to come to the webinar a little earlier at 7:30, it will be with Philomena. So we'll be talking, having a language lesson and learning about going shopping for food and clothing here in Portugal. So if you want to have a bit of a cultural fix, join us with Philomena next week. But don't forget that the lovely Connie who's here, we've got her meetup on the first Saturday of each month. So make sure you go to the calendar there as well and RSVP on the appropriate
Wonderful
one. So yeah.
Thanks, Expats Portugal members, for being here tonight and all your comments here. And well done, Peder, on renewing. Much appreciated. Cheers, Paolo, as well for that. Great meeting. And as always, obrigado for the great advice. That's from Debbie. Thanks for your comments as well, Denise. And thanks to everyone.